Rolling.
Rolling.
Hey, everybody. My name is Steffi Reyes Thomas, and this is the Creative Tea Podcast. I also want to introduce you to my co-host.
Hi, I'm Ella. Nice to see everyone again.
And today we have our guest, who is also a member here at the consultancy at Miramac, Kristen Victor, interior designer, longtime friend, and just an utter inspiration. I want to invite you to share a little bit more about yourself with our audience.
Aw, thanks. So great to be here with you, Steffi and Matra. I'm loving being here at Merrimack and consultancy. And what I'm really called to share today, I was invited to share some tea, and they asked me, what's your tea, or what's the connection? And so the first thing that came to me was water. So water is love, and I feel it's really truly my calling, and for the offering of connecting inward to our waters. I know when I started connecting to my own waters, there was just this whole purification and unfolding of clarity to really truly my purpose in this world.
Yeah, we were having a conversation before this podcast just about water and how we're made. The human body is made 75% of water, and also just how water is around us all the time. It's maybe something we forget, and also just the conversation around water in San Diego is a really touchy one because our water is one of the most polluted in the whole nation.
Yes.
You can't even go to the beach right now because of all the toxins coming down from Mexico into San Diego, and all the toxins from all the Navy ships polluting our bay, And so that's the water we have here.
Yes, those are the natural waters. So, we as humans are water beings, 70 to 85%. Stephanie's saying, she says 85% today. She's water.
I'm 85% water because I'm fasting.
And then we live on, planet Earth is 75% water. So we're water beings, and we live on a water planet. And it's just so interesting because when I started tuning into my own waters, I was just really discovering that how there's possibilities around connecting into our waters, and how there's so few of us that really truly are connected into our own waters, and then also being connected into the waters of Mother Earth. And so you spoke of the natural waters, the ocean waters.
Yeah.
Here in San Diego, it's interesting because I actually was part of the water conservation kind of framework that San Diego houses right now with our pure water program. And we also have desalination water. So that's actually the reuse of water to be able to elevate our water supply from a potable water use.
Yeah.
And then you were talking about the natural waters. And yeah, I swim in the ocean every day, and I've been seeing the pollution go way beyond Coronado up north. I was in Encinitas and actually saw toilet paper in the water.
Yeah. And that's so sad because
What?
that's so gross.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, I've heard of tampons in Tijuana, but I've never heard of toilet paper in Encinitas. That is crazy to me.
Yeah, well, there was a hurricane that had this swell that was going, normally the swell comes, east to west, coming to the beach, but this swell actually was pushing everything very, it was north, it was coming from the south to the north. And so the surfers are all talking about it right now, how polluted the water is, what they're seeing in the waters. And I find it to be really interesting because the work that I'm doing on water conservation is all in decentralized systems. So what that means is there's no sewage infrastructure to get the water or to get the waste from the place of where it's created and then into a space that actually is able to filter it. So imagine Tijuana, a town of 3 million people, and there's no infrastructure for waste. And so there's all this waste that's happening, and we're putting billions of dollars into technologies, at the water, but we can't get the waste to the technologies to be able to reuse it. So basically what happens is all that waste flows down into the waters, and then now the currents are taking those waters, and we're seeing it, Coronado, Pacific Beach, Encinitas, I hear it's even further north.
Yeah, because it flows north.
Yes.
Because and that's why we see jetties and berms so that because the sand naturally goes north. So if the sand and the sediment is continuously going north and we're trying to keep our beaches, guess what? Those jetties and everything else, it's also holding this waste and the stuff we don't want. And it's not just from Tijuana, to your point. It's from the Navy ships. There are ports all up and down the coast, and it's not just the wastewater, but it's not just wastewater from Tijuana. It's wastewater from when we're driving our cars on the street and it rains and it runs out. It's not, the runoff.
Yes.
It's awful.
Man.
Sorry.
No, it's so true, and it's this conversation. I grew up in IB, so it's kind of like the forefront, the first, southwestern city, right next to Mexico. And yeah, the beaches there have been closed for years, I believe, but people keep surfing because that's the lifestyle down there. It's a beach town. But yeah, sometimes I still go down. I don't live in IB anymore, but I go there for the gym. That's where my trainer's at. But some mornings, it's it just reeks.
Yes.
And it's so sad because the kids are inhaling this. People are like my eyes are watery coming out of the car. I'm not even close to the beach yet. And this is people's daily lives, and their solution is to put air purifying devices for each residence. And that's a band-aid to a huge problem, which is getting the ways to the technology that can actually filter and make sure that people are breathing clean air and the water's clean.
So I have a burning question. How does the love of water and, the fire of water creep into your creative world? Because I know you, very deeply as a creative person, as somebody who is surrounded by art, surrounded by vibrant colors, surrounded by, just the most beautiful textiles, always traveling, always, craving something new. How does water play into your creative world?
Oh, such a beautiful question. Thank you, Steffi.
Yeah.
And I feel honored. So it's really quite interesting how the journey has taken me, the creative journey. Steffi shared that I was an interior designer for many, many years. That was my profession. And it's actually taken me to Mexico. And I'm working with indigenous communities, and I'm actually working with a weaving community of 6,000 weavers right now in water conservation. And the water conservation is around native plants that are producing the natural tintas, the natural dyes, that they then dye their fibers, that then they weave with.
Wow.
So another really interesting thing to know is that synthetic dyes, so our clothes, the dyes that are being used in our clothes, is the largest pollutant globally in water. So we talked about waste, water, but it's the washing of the clothes, the water being dispersed into the waters. So so it's an ancestral way of weaving using natural dyes, but the natural dyes are not accessible. So the synthetic dyes are very accessible and they're very inexpensive. So it's an easy shift if you're not really understanding what the environmental impact is. So in this one collectiva that I'm working with, we've been working with them for about 5 years on water infrastructure. They're 100% decentralized, so their only source of water is rainwater. So when the rainwater comes, you not only need to capture the rainwater, but you need to direct it to be able to allow it to to be a positive impact versus a destructive negative impact. So that's what we work with, is that we work with the earth, we work with rocks, sediment, guiding the water to where the trees and the plants are, and then also build very large underground cisterns to store the water, to allow it to provide the resource during the off seasons when there are not the rains.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's interesting because now we're working on a winter purse collection with this collectivo that is like amazing. So the water reclamation or the water capture has, the Huerta now has, they've actually had, not only is the 6,000 villagers have natural tintas, they are actually packaging it up and selling it to others that are looking for natural tintas.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was all with captured water. So it was, the resource was there. It's just actually knowing how to direct it, filter it, capture it, and store it.
Wow.
So we're getting into fashion, permaculture, earthwork,
Yes.
like all
Yes.
the things, the landscape architects, like all these different creative industries
Yes.
that just have to do with this one system, in this one area.
Well, it's actually it's like the resource. It's like the water resource. And you said water is love.
Water is love.
Look at all the impacts that you just said: food, plants, weavers,
Everybody.
fashion. It's like love. It's love and beauty. I mean, and allowing the water to be able to be to have that understanding of that is what the possibility of connecting into our inner waters, connecting to the waters of Mother Earth, and then really understanding like the fluidity of water and what the possibilities are.
I love that. Water is sacred. Water is love. I just met you today, and I'm just touched by your work.
Oh, thank you.
So thank you for sharing this. And yeah, how can people find you? How can people support your projects?
So it's KristenVictor.com. I do consulting. 50% of my work is consulting around water conservation work, and then the other 50% is around philanthropic work. Wow. So I actually have a 501c3 through International Community Foundation that donations come in, and then those are the monies that support this work down in Mexico and with these communities to be able to create a resource and prosperity for not only their community themselves, but for others as well.
Wow.
Yes.
I love that. Well, follow her work, and thank you for being part of the
Creative
P podcast.
Yeah, thank you. I feel honored.
Honestly,
yeah.
hug.
Yeah.